In this video, I'm going to be taking a quick look at noise reduction within Topaz Photo Studio. So I'm going to be looking specifically at this turtle image, which has got a lot of noise within it. And I may also have a look at a few other images, and we're just going to see how well it can actually handle the noise in this image. Now, this is just a demonstration image because it's got a lot of noise. It's not sharp and it's not a great photo, but it does show noise reduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this one in Topaz Photo Studio, and I'm going to open it as a TIFF just so I can get a little bit more detail out of the image. Because if you go to something like JPEG, you're going to lose some of the data in the image and it won't necessarily be as good. So what I have here is the Topaz app, and what I have done is I've just loaded this and I'm going to just manually pick. I'm not going to use Autopilot, although certainly you could if you turned Autopilot on. It will then give suggestions. So it'll say, do you want to denoise all, sharpen the subject, and it has applied the denoise. So when we look at the denoise, we're denoising the whole image as compared to just the subject or the background, which is fine because it is a very noisy image. And it's going to use a strength of 99, which is just the default that I think it's picked. Now I could reduce that, so we could say, let's make this 50, and then it's going to remove the noise and reprocess. And what you'll see is there is a lot more noise with 50 than 99. Now, of course, this is a balancing act. You will have to try and find out what works best for you, but I'm going to leave this on 99. And we're going to just export this back to Adobe. I'm not going to sharpen or anything. I'm just going to export it. And it's going to process this, and then it's going to knock it back to the collection where I've got this image. Now this, to be honest, is a bit of a difficult image, just because it is really, really noisy, if I'm completely honest. And I'm going to do a comparison. So I'm going to show the before on the right and the after on the left. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. We might run to fit. I'll go back to the comparison again. And what you can see is it's definitely done a pretty good job of it. So you can see here that on this side, it's a lot noisy, especially underneath the turtle. And on the other side, it has definitely cleared up that noise. So you can see that it has done a pretty good job. But it is worth noting when you do look at it in a bit more detail, you can see that it's certainly not perfect. Underneath, it can't, there's not really enough information for it to work out what should be there. And then there's some sort of weird things on the side where it's kind of gone a little bit blurry because it's denoised, but it hasn't really had the data to kind of put it back. But where you look where there is actually detail, it's really pretty good. And what I thought I would do just to sort of show an example is to kind of use, I guess, a bit of an easier image in the sense of showing, what it works like with this image. So this is just a bird. I've bumped the exposure up just to show the noise, and you can see it is quite noisy around here, and of course the bird as well. So same thing, I'm going to just bring it back. It'll do auto, oh no, it won't. I'll just put denoise on. I'm going to use the settings it defines, and it's suggesting 94, and I will then just export back, and we'll do the same comparison with this one. So now I'm just going to look at both of these images together, and we're just going to do compare as well. So you can see it's definitely improved the image. If I had a little bit of a criticism, I'd say perhaps it's gone a little bit too soft on the bird where it's done some noise reduction. But I think overall it's not terrible. And you got to remember, I haven't really done any pre-processing to this at all. I've just let it do everything on default, which you probably wouldn't usually do if you want to get the best out of it. But it gives you an example of what Topaz Photo Studio can do in terms of noise reduction for some of the images. Thanks for watching.